Real talk. Just you and me. Real talk. I've had enough of this thing. I've had enough. Lots of gamers have enough. Me and my brother have been discussing this for like thousands and thousands of times. Not just in that one video, we've discussed this like millions of times. But people still cannot distinguish between fiction and reality. Are guns in video games holding the medium back? An article posted at IGN. I'm gonna link the archived version because these people do not deserve any clicks. Just from the title alone, you can already smell nonsense. Are guns in video games holding the medium video games back? Have you ever heard of this very small, unknown game that just got released in 2016? It didn't really blow up. It's called Overwatch. There's also a small game that I just got heard from a friend, but I just tried to browse it on the internet. I didn't really find it. It's called Battlefield 1. It's a game about World War 1. I mean, that's one hell of a thing, right? I never thought there would be a game like that. It's so small. It's very minuscule. Like, I can't believe that people haven't played those games already. There's this game that my friend told me. Really good game. It's really damn good game, and surprised that a lot of people haven't played it. It's called Grand Theft Auto 5. Yeah, there's 5 games in this. I was like, why haven't I heard of this game? Why haven't I ever heard of this game? It's a game with guns. You can drive people. You can run people over with it. I mean, it's just the best concept of video game. Yet I haven't heard of it. Why is that? Is that the kind of reality that you're living in? Whoever the writer of this article is. This writer here obviously haven't heard of any of those games. These famous games that have been supplied with guns. And it's got holding the medium back. What do you even mean with that? Holding the medium back. Are you saying that video games do not progress better with this? Guns, they don't progress into something better. They can be something more creative, something more in-depth, something deeper. All of those games I've mentioned sold millions and millions of copies. All of those games I mentioned have millions and millions of players, growing. All of those games I've mentioned are very fun to play, and yes, they have guns. And yet it's still holding the medium back. Why is that? Why are these guns in these video games holding the medium back? I don't get it. Maybe because what you refer to as holding it back does not mean the same thing as to what I refer to as holding it back. The same way what you consider something misogynistic is not the same what I consider something misogynistic. It's wordplay. It's absolute basic propaganda 101. Definitions. Definitions of words, definitions of phrases. They're now irrelevant now. Because they've been used tons and tons and tons of times. Like, people have been shouting racist, sexist, misogynist ever to the point where they are meaningless. Those words back then, it would be strong. When someone called you a racist, that would be a very strong accusation. But right now, no. I got called that like 1,000 times for not doing anything that can be defined as racism. In fact, most of the things that are being racist coming from you guys. Do you know what I fear the most concerning this article? Because this article speaks to the current problem that we have in the society. We have a problem of, well, a lot of you guys have been discussing, I think lots of YouTubers already discussed this, fake news. Fake news that are being clearly just pushing propaganda, clearly just in there to push lies. I know that this is not news. I know this is just an OP editorial from some random writer who I don't really know about. But the point here is when you try to write some sort of OP editorial, you might want to give in some points, something that is actually tangible, that is actually correlates well within reality. We can disagree with it, obviously, that's totally fine, but at least what you're writing in there aligns with whatever kind of reality that you're living in. Just from the title alone, you're already out of this world. You're already in the moon world. You're already in the freaking planet where those aliens came from, they live. That's how far you've gone. And I want to ask the writer of this article, what's the point of writing this thing? It's for propaganda pushing. You just really hate guns so much that you're going to attack guns in video games too? How much of an dedicated activist that you are? You're very dedicated. I gave you that. Very dedicated. You have to attack guns in video games as well. But I think I've made a video on this. I think it's in Watch Dogs 2 as far as I can recall. Let's get back to mainstream media. Do you know what I fear the most out of this article? I don't care whether or not this writer is writing this just to troll me, just to have a little bit of good tears. I mean, it's like, oh God, I am so angry. And this writer is actually enjoying the delicious tears that I have. I don't care. That's not the problem here. Me crying whether or not this article is a stupid article is not the problem. There's a bigger problem with all of that. Do you know what the bigger problem is? People reading this article and accepting it as truth. Have you ever considered that possibility? I have considered that possibility because I believe that morons out there exist. Morons that buy into the mainstream media narrative, morons that buy into whatever kind of article, whatever kind of garbage that you're putting here. I believe that those people exist. And those people are the detriment of your society because of what you're doing here. This is why, I know it's a very huge shift of topic, but I fear democracy. There's a huge flaw within democracy. And the thing is, the mainstream media knows the flaw within democracy. They absolutely exploit the living hell out of the flaw of democracy. Because democracy, everybody thinks democracy is the best system ever. Okay, whatever your opinion, but the mainstream media knows the weakness in the democracy. They know the absolute weak point that can kill democracy in an instant. You know what the weak point is? When the majority of people are morons. That's the weak point. And the mainstream media, you know what they do? They were going to create morons after morons, after morons, after morons, after morons. Can I ask you something? Why is Gamergate still a thing now? Why is Gamergate still a thing now? I'm very sure that we have accomplished pretty much a lot of goals in like the early 2015. Gamergate is still a thing now. People have been game dropping Gamergate, the name, in many articles, in videos even. They've been game dropping this thing and smearing in the name of the Gamergate. I don't get it. Why? Can I ask you why? Because you're only making Gamergate a hell of a lot stronger. You're only making it live more and more. You're only making it live continuously until the end of time. This kind of act right here on making game dropping things, repeating the same lines over and over again. We have already told you that Gamergate is not a movement to harass women out of gaming like 2 years ago. And yet you keep on parading this lie. This lie that Gamergate is just a movement to harass a bunch of video game developers, women video game developers out of gaming. And yet we donated like thousands and thousands of dollars to a women gaming developer, women developing video games. Our mascot is a freaking chick. And yet you still keep on parading this lie. The reason why people keep on parading this lie is because if the lies are being repeated enough, people are going to believe it. The reason why people keep on game dropping until this current year to the point where people actually say, oh, Gamergate is actually in the White House now thanks to Donald Trump being elected, It's because it's a lie worth repeating. It is a lie worth telling to everybody. It is a lie to tell everybody that gamers are a bunch of racist, sexist, misogynist assholes. I am not scary on the prospect that you guys are telling those lies. I am scary on the prospect that people are buying into it. Because there are. There are people out there who will buy into this. There are people out there who will buy into the narrative of toxic ideologies, toxic ideas. And these ideas can never go challenged. They can never ever go challenged because that will counter the narrative. The thing about the mainstream media and people like IGN and people who parade this wrong narrative that Gamergate is a movement to drive women out of gaming, do you know why they do it? Because they know the weakness of democracy. They know that the weakness of a democracy is a bunch of people, the majority of people, to be absolute morons. They want to make morons. They don't want to make us smarter because making us smarter would be not beneficial for them. Making us skeptical, making us to actually think logically, making us to think that the facts and reason, that's not beneficial for any of them. That's never beneficial to any of them. If we just take one step into that the freaking glasses from They Live. Where the frick is my glasses anyway? If we just take one step to wear these glasses, don't wear the glasses. Don't wear the glasses. Because that will harm our very existence over here. Jesus Christ, I threw it so far away. I broke it! Seriously. These people, their goal is to create morons. Their goal is to create morons. In this world where democracy is considered to be the best system ever, they found the weakness. They look into that weakness and say, you know what, we're going to exploit it. Let's keep on parading the lies. Let's not tell the truth to people because if we tell the truth to people, we make them smart. If we tell the truth to people, we make them actually think. We actually make them to have some sort of reason or logic behind them. We don't want that. We don't want people to actually think independently. We don't want people to actually think for themselves. We don't want people to actually make conclusions and have reasonable discussions. No. That would be too beneficial to them. And it will be less beneficial to us. We have the power here. We're going to make morons. We're going to create morons. And by the time these people want to voice their opinions, oh, don't worry. We have a bunch of morons here that agrees with us. So all of you rational people, you're going to be defeated by numbers. You're going to be defeated by people being morons coming into you and say, yeah, you're wrong. Because these people over here, they agree with what I have to say. Scary, isn't it? Scary that it is a possibility that you might be alone in this entire thing. Scary that it's a possibility that you might be the only one who is actually thinking rationally at this very moment. And everybody else, they freaking follow the things like sheep. It's a scary prospect, isn't it? The world that we're living in. But it happens. And sometimes, in some ways or the other, you cannot change the minds of these sheeps. You can change your own. And the least you can do is you can at least try. Try to convince some of these sheeps, hey, it's not right. It's not the right path to go, man. You can try. Some will work, some will not. But if there's one thing that I know, there's one thing that I definitely know is that if I don't try, the chance of me being successful is 0%. But if I do try, even if just 1% chance, I will still take it. Because people need to get away. People need to get away from these hordes and stop being sheeps. You can contribute to this by telling people what's actually true. You can contribute to this by discussing with people, having a reasonable discussion, because these people, they're sheeps. You can try to have a reasonable discussion with any of them. Try. Keyword here, try. You can persuade them into your position. Here's the thing. You can't just go and smack them and call them whatever kind of names you have in your freaking buzzwords. You need to persuade them into your position. Convince them that your position is correct and their position is wrong. Convince them to what you believe in. Oh, Jesus Christ, I just used the mainstream media tactic against them. Convince them that what the mainstream media says is wrong. The thing is, we are working on individuality. We are working on reason. We're working on logic. We're working on skepticism, rationality. The mainstream media just wants to make you a bunch of sheeps. So you can try to persuade people with your rationality, with your logic, with your reasoning. The mainstream media can convert everybody to sheeps. And the key part here is we're going to see who will listen the most. Who will be listened the most. It's a battle of ideas. A battle of ideas that we're living in. Everybody's trying to battle this. Everybody's trying to combat bad ideas. And you can contribute into this battle of ideas. You can be on the side that strives for rationality and don't want to make people to be sheeps. I'm going to be on that side. I'm going to make sure that people are informed on this issue. I'm going to make sure that people are actually walking on the right side. I'm not going to force them to think that this should be what you're thinking. If they want to continue to be sheeps, go ahead. If I can't convince them to persuade them into this position, go ahead. Life will destroy them eventually. We, people who are rational, who are skeptical in this entire thing, we get to live. Because we use our brains. We use our head. These people can only follow their emotions. These people can only follow whatever kind of thing that Big Brother is saying. Mindless drones to everybody. So, to the mainstream media, to the people who perpetuate lies time and time again, go ahead and perpetuate those lies. Because by the time you do, we will be here to counter it. We will be here to fight back. And by the time we fight back, people have a choice to listen to either you or us. It might not lead into a battle that we won. This is a war after all. But that will never ever stop us from trying. Just so you know that. Just because I couldn't convince one person doesn't mean that I cannot convince the other. I will keep trying. We will keep trying. Regardless of how ineffective it is, because by the time we stop trying and decided, you know what, I give up mainstream media. You can't change, obviously. These people cannot change. These people are going to stay sheep. That's by the time we lose. That's by the time we turn into a sheep. So don't stop trying. These people, there are future generations. They're going to be turned into sheeps for the government. Because they're being converted into morons. You're going to let that happen? Well, go ahead. Be sure to check out the future of your country in the next 20 years. It would be a very distasteful future indeed. But if you don't want to let that happen, well, you can go ahead and do whatever you like to make sure that it doesn't happen. Do as you wish. Try to persuade people. Try to convince them that they're being converted to sheeps, and try to make sure that they're not sheeps. That's your duty. To make people smart, to make people think of themselves, because we want more smart people in this world. I want to make smart people in the world. I want to make people who actually think for themselves. I don't want to make the people to be sheeps of someone else. That's what I want. It's a simple wish, really. Maybe I could achieve it, maybe I could not. But I will always keep trying, regardless of how the world goes, regardless of how the things went on to me, I will always try to make sure that people are smart, that people are well informed, that people are actually know the things that they're talking about. By the time, I stop doing that, I'm very sure there are others who will continue what I'm doing. You guys have been supporting me. You guys have been crazy giving tons of support to me, having my backs to a lot of things. Thank you so much. And if sometimes in the future I fall down, I decided to not be smart anymore, decided to abandon reason, abandon logical, abandon skepticism, you have a platform to step on to take my throne. Go ahead and make videos that are better than me, more informative, funnier. Go ahead. Replace me. We need more people like you. We need more people who speak up their opinions. Because by the time you come in and speak out to your opinions, by the time I fell down into the abyss, because that will happen in the future, I know that you are actually making the world a better place, regardless of whether or not I see that you're making the world a better place or not. So keep on trying. To all of you guys, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you like this, you can go ahead and click the like button and subscribe for more. If you wish, you can support me on Patreon, and thanks for watching.